Alright, this is episode 18, and this is Ordinary People, the podcast, and we are in Al's greenhouse, and this is the pre-greenhouse, because we're going to go to the real greenhouse later. Now, he's going to explain how this process works. And I guess the first step is you have to have a cup of coffee, obviously. And the second step is you have to start the process, since we live in Nebraska, inside. So let's talk about this situation right here, which is a bunk bed, which basically means there are two levels of plants being, seeded. And then we'll move them out to the greenhouse.
Yeah, well, classic pose here, just so you know.
All right, nice trowel.
Anyway, a couple of years ago, my son and I started this business. We go to farmers markets in the area. We plant our seeds indoors. We plant them on that table there.
Which we'll get to later.
We mix our medium in this wheelbarrow here. And I have a seed table back there that we get our seeds, whatever particular one we're looking up. So we'll fill our containers, move over there, plant seeds in the better light. We have some water in the jugs, we water them. And then they graduate and move over here. So if you can see, we've got several things that are still moving along in the process. Some not so good, some a little bit better. We have, when they first put them out, we have the plastic containers there on top of them until the seedlings emerge. And as you can look over here, here's one I just took that plastic cover off, some lettuce here. And once they start popping out, then we want them to be exposed to a little bit more air. So then I have to be careful. I water them enough so that they get some height on them. And when they get a little bit taller, as you see the ones back in that area there,
Yeah,
then
what
we'll
are
move
those?
them to a different place. Now,
What are those?
lavenders and rosemaries, and
Okay.
a few mints.
So these are all herbs in here.
At
Pretty
this point,
much.
yeah, except for these scrawny watermelons.
Okay. And you've moved all the plants like tomatoes and peppers into the greenhouse,
The vast majority, yeah.
which we'll get to later.
So,
But these are nice rosemaries. Okay.
again, we started this a couple of years ago. We didn't have this structure, and we decided we needed more indoor space. So my son and I built this bunk bed setup here.
And let me back up to get just the real aspect of how huge this is. This thing is it's humongous. It's very nice.
Well, it's worked really well for our purposes.
Yeah, definitely. Because living in Nebraska, you have to get stuff started very early.
Well, we didn't have this bunk bed section 2 years ago, but we built it last year. Worked real well for that. But we found that the plants were still reaching for the outdoor light.
Okay.
So we put this reflective material over it this year, and they grow straighter.
Okay.
We've determined it keeps it a little bit warmer in there, so I don't use quite as much electricity.
Nice.
So we're very pleased with how that's turned out as well. It's not
Good.
perfect, but you work towards that end.
Okay.
So,
All right. And you wanted to talk about this table where you start stuff?
right, it's kind of full of things, but we've got a little extra light up here.
Yeah.
We'll put our planting container right about in that open spot. It'll be filled with medium of some kind of plant material. We'll poke our little fingers inside, make holes, drop the seeds in, cover them up a little bit, and then we water them with some water. Although we don't dump the whole gallon, usually we sprinkle it with this little container
Okay.
here. Some empty seed packets here, as well as some that still have some seed in them as well.
Nice.
We mark the seeds as to what type they are by writing on these little placards.
Yeah.
And currently, I bought a plant the other day. I divided it up a little bit, and we're going to see how it turns out, see how it grows. So this is brand new, even though it looks big. I want it indoors for a couple days before I take it out to the greenhouse.
Okay.
Originally, both my grandmothers did a lot of gardening because they were farmers. So I was the oldest grandson, so I had to help quite a bit.
Sure.
So a lot of my background's there. I don't have any of their tools, but my father-in-law did have a bunch of farming things because he was a farmer, so I have a collection of his items too. And all that stuff kind of comes together. And we
all right, very good. Now, before we go out to the actual greenhouse and the garden, talk about where you are actually going to do you do the farmers markets in several different places.
Right. We started off going to 2 places, and we found out that's pretty much all we can handle. We changed our markets last year. We go down to the old market and down to Exarban in Omaha, and that'll start this next weekend. And a month from then, there's a market in Papillion. We'll go there as well, but that's in the middle of the week.
Okay.
So we'll hit 3 markets there for about a month or so, and then we'll cut it back to 2.
Okay. And say the name of the whatever it is, the
markets.
Yeah, whatever Vaughn's market's called.
Yeah, we go to these markets, but of course you have to have a name for all these things. And this is known as Budramy Farms, which are the first few letters of my son's children. So we have 3 children, 3 parts of the names, and it's one more talking point when people walk by. They see our little sign, and they say, "What? How do you say that?" So we tell them, of course. I pronounce it one way, my son does another way, and people are saying, "Oh, can we get that?" So it's just one more talking point. We just kind of go back and forth. Budramy Farms.
All right. Okay. You ready to go outside?
Well, just one more thing here. We always start the day with a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
We work hard just like anybody else, and then we end the day at the beer fridge, which is, of course, back there.
Oh, absolutely. All right.
Head out to the
Here
environs.
we go. All right, so we're headed out to the greenhouse. Previously, that was inside. Now we're going outside. And this is adjacent to where I live. My wife and I, Noelle, my kids.
Classic gardening pose.
Definitely. Love it. You can see the area. That's the house that we live in, and it's the house next door they live in. That's where Al and Deb live, my mother and father-in-law. Now, this is the greenhouse. This is pretty amazing. And, of course, swing set, and, of course, we got outdoor stuff. You gotta... Okay, look. Trampoline, Jesus Christ. Okay, so...
Yeah, we use the trampoline just to jump right into it.
Jump right into the dirt. Is there any way you can turn the fan off just for a minute? Okay, so we're going to do that just so we can have better audio, because I don't want the fan to fuck this all up. But all this is really incredible. It's really amazing. It's very nice, and just look at all. This isn't even. This is a small representation of what is really going on here. And I'll let you talk now, because I'm just the producer here. So
well, originally we started with my original garden, and that's in the background behind Paul.
Yeah,
and we found out it wasn't enough space.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute, because that's an enormous space. And what he said about how it's not enough space. Here we go.
So we said we had just some raised beds. I happen to have some planks, so these are new beds this year, but a bed of carrots that we planted. This is unused yet.
And you just did this in the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last couple weeks.
Okay. And you've been doing this for 3 years.
Kind of.
The whole entire thing.
Oh yeah, it just gets bigger. So we purchased a greenhouse from the neighbor. That's what this is.
This thing is, it's really intense. 100 feet? Okay. Yeah. This is crazy. I love this thing. You can come in here and get a tan.
Planting table here. Just supplies here. And just a quick view there. We can see we've got some tables to get exposure to the plants, to the sun, and yet not freeze. And until this last couple days, it looks like we'll finally be able to leave things outside because these are still tender plants and we don't want to lose them. So they've been inside last month or two, depending how old they are. One of the other things we found out was I didn't have enough room in the basement to put these tender plants when they're real little. So we built an inner greenhouse.
This is like a greenhouse within a greenhouse, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So it stays a little bit warmer in here because we've got, I can shut this opening up.
Well, I'll step in here first.
Yeah, don't be too long, dude. It's hot.
This is extremely hot in here, but this is extremely hot in here. But this is stuff they started way early.
Well, let's get towards the end of that. This is just the latest stuff, except for the rosemary.
Okay. Yeah, well, the rosemary is a big deal. All right, so back out here. Now, what did you say this stuff was?
Oh, that's bok or pak choi. Pak choi must be related.
It's pak choi different than bok choy. I don't know what the difference is, and who really knows?
Well, I don't.
So, anyways, we got more rosemary, and then what was this one again?
It's a kale.
Some kale.
These are some squashes. More squash through here. Oregano here. Some okra here, red okra.
Yeah, talk about the okra because there was several different kinds.
Well, my green okra I set outside, but we have two kinds of red. You can see one is a little bit shorter, kind of a striped okra. This is just a regular red potted okra here. We found that there are a number of people that specifically want these kind of things, so we try to provide.
Okay.
And they are very productive.
Nice.
So, again, I got some cucumbers, a few flowers here. A bigger emphasis this year on herbs than in the past.
Yeah, let's get to that in a second. And these flowers, what were they? You
These
talked
are
about
salvias.
them. Okay.
It's one of my wife's favorites. She plants a lot of these, so
Okay. I have no idea what the hell these are, but
they're flowers. Flowers.
yeah, flowers. Yeah, they just
That's all you need.
bloom, and
all you
nobody,
need to know.
nobody gives a shit about them.
Oh yes, they are. They're
Well,
popular.
women do. And these are oreganos.
Times.
Thymes.
Two different kinds of
Oh,
thyme.
shit.
A winter thyme
Damn
and
it,
a
I
common
should've
thyme
known
there.
that.
Yeah. You should.
I should have, because I have it out on my table today to make
There's
some.
more sweet majorum here.
Majorum. Yes, very good.
All
right,
you want to
so
see over here.
oh yeah, we're
You know
talking
what
about.
this is.
You were talking about basil. Now this
Yeah,
is.
we have a number of different kinds of basil. You can see here some red basil, but we have large leaf basil. We have small leaf basil. We have lemon and lime basils.
I'll get a close up of those in a second. Basically, you have a shitload of basil.
Mostly people like basil, we've found.
You got
we
some
try to
purple
provide that.
basil. Is that
Oh yeah, yeah. They call it red, but some of it might as well be purple. We have Persian basil. We have some Thai basil, one of these places. Assortment of tomatoes.
Yeah, talk about the tomatoes because you have
Well,
so many.
People want the
different
common things, so we always have a beefsteak style. We have an in-between called Big Boy. We grow a lot of cherry tomatoes, and yellows for that matter as well. But there are people that want heirloom tomatoes. They want something to do with organic in the name, tomatoes, so that's some of the rest of these. So some of these will be that dark purple color. We went back to Maryland this last fall, and I picked up some tomato seed from Thomas Jefferson's site.
That's the stuff.
That's this right here.
Okay.
So, and then this is called money plant, so it's a flowering thing.
Nice.
Fennel is something we found that people like, so I have quite a bit of that.
Yeah, fennel's great. And you said that some of it bulbs and some of it doesn't.
Right, some of it's just leaf and some of it's bulb and leaf. So, and then to finish up in this area, we've got pepper of different kinds. Again, hot pepper.
All right,
A lot of mild pepper, big green pepper, hopefully yellow and red peppers.
What's this pepper here?
I have to look because offhand it tells me it's Big Bertha's.
Okay. So those will be bell peppers
Yes.
that are gigantic.
Yeah, they turn out to be pretty long.
They turn out long.
You're right.
Okay. And what are some of the others?
Here's some ghost peppers. People want that heat. Anaheim peppers right there in your tray there. Jalapenos right there here.
Yes, very popular. Sorry, trying to get.
A yellow type bell pepper.
Okay.
And we should have some poblanos someplace around here. We have some novelty ones called Enjoya pepper. It's just a striped one. We have a pepper from Romania called Gogosaris, a really thick-walled one. And that circles us back around. One of the more interesting things this year, I think, is we've got some lemon balm, which to me looks just great.
Explain that, because I don't know.
Oh, here's more time. Oh, well, it's just a lemon flavored thing that you can put in teas, use as a garnish.
Tastes very good to me.
We have cilantro and parsley.
Cilantro is very nice.
Yep.
A lot of people like that.
Back here, we don't use all this at one time, so we don't heat it all. That's what these plastic sheets are for. But anyway, we found that people like beets, especially early in the season, so I'm planting beets in the greenhouse because it can take a little bit of cool, doesn't have to be heated. That's what that is. In this area, we've got Swiss chard, 2 kinds of radishes, and a few more beets.
And that is a Troy built.
This is my left-hand man.
Yeah.
Does all the heavy lifting around here, which I've had this thing for 38 years.
38 years.
Still runs.
Jesus
Not
Christ.
always
That's
on
awesome.
the first pull, but it takes off.
But that is a Troy built tiller, and it's worked for 38 years.
Very dependable.
That's awesome.
Yeah, let's go out the other way.
Well, let's look at the.
Well, I want to turn the heat. Well, you know what this stuff is, so you go ahead and talk.
Okay.
Keep your
Yeah,
hands
this
off.
right here is radishes.
You go out that other door.
Okay, talk about radishes. I mean, that's. I'll zoom in on this for a second. We got radishes, and then right over here is the Swiss chard. I mean, you can tell because of the red line in the middle, and obviously because of the fucking envelope right there. But yeah, he's got a shitload of it, and I mean, just to let you know, this goddamn greenhouse is fucking enormous. But yeah, it goes on forever. So hell yeah, I mean, this is good shit, and whatever he doesn't sell, we eat. I mean, this is what people need to really do. I mean, this is really good shit. Here's a picture of the tiller again. Alright, what we're going to do in a minute is, well, right now, not in a minute. Water hose. The other fan. He's got to turn the fan on. I have to get out of here because he's going to turn the fan on because he doesn't want it to overheat. So, we're back outside, and I apologize for any interference that we have because of the wind, because the wind is blowing. But now we're out, and this is the external, and this is still going on because this operation is much more than just the inside of the goddamn greenhouse. I can't fucking believe how big this operation is, but bear with me. And well, what do you want to talk about now?
Well, since we're at this end,
I mean, here's the.
this is my main garden, has been
This
for
is-
30 plus years, excluding the trees. I've got onions planted already in the first 4 rows to the left. I don't have anything in this part because, again, we've had too cool of weather, but I'll take my rototiller and make some hills here, hopefully today, and get some of those other producing vegetables out here. Now, what we found, we can bunch them a little bit closer together and they produce better if we can stake them up.
Okay.
So I don't know if you see over there underneath the pine trees, but we've got panels.
Yeah.
and then we've got a bunch of posts there off to the right. And then we'll put those in those rows, and we'll plant right next to them, so the tomatoes and the peppers have something to go climb on.
Yeah.
Especially the tomatoes, because they produce a little bit better the further they're off the ground. It makes it easier for us to weed as well.
Definitely.
And anyway, that's the purpose of that.
Okay.
I have I don't know if you want to see, 2 other raised beds
Oh,
I've
yeah.
had for a number of years. They're
We can go over
blue
there.
over there.
We can take that.
I have a blackberry inside there. What I bought last fall.
Nice.
So hopefully it produces.
Yeah, I hope
Hopefully
so
it comes
too.
to life and then produces.
I like blackberries.
Over here I've got my original raised beds. I've got some volunteer lettuce here. I'll plant new beds in that part.
Good.
But I have an old greenhouse structure I've had for 15 years, 20 years. And I didn't use it this year, but that's what this frame is for.
Okay.
So, original raised beds. Somebody built these custom for me, put the dirt in them. I don't have to bend over quite as far.
Nice.
So, Paul, there's your first bunch of lettuce right there.
There it is.
So,
Okay.
that's in that area.
About the stuff we took in today. Oh, yeah, the hops. Here we go.
The old hops coming up. We will throw ropes over. They'll climb those ropes, go bloom, and come midsummer or late summer, they'll down, pull off the little hops, which look like little pine cones. We'll try and bag them and sell those at the market as well for those entrepreneurs that like to make a little beer. So
Very
again,
good.
I've got 10 hills of hops, 5 there, 5 there. Obviously the weeds look better than the hops do, but they're coming. They're coming. So,
They'll come up soon. Sorry if you didn't hear all of that audio. The hops been going for 3 years. Go to local breweries.
right. Today, these are tomatoes and peppers that we planted back in the first part of February. Here's the idea being that we wanted a little produce earlier. Red cherry tomatoes and
Once again, I apologize if the audio on this is not very good because the wind's blowing. But I just wanted you to see this produce is top notch. So please come by.
turn the sound and go around the corner and get out of there.
I mean, if I turn it down, it's not gonna. Okay, now we're on the outside of the greenhouse. As you can see, here's the pond. Sometimes it's full of water. It's been a very dry winter. Now,
We have other raised beds here that we created last year. We planted here this last week some things that are a little bit more cold hardy, such as kale and cabbage, kohlrabi and broccoli. So you can see the beginning plants right there. We have some open spots, of course. Our blue tubing here is for when we put plastic covering over it, should we ever get a chance to plant earlier, which we didn't this year. Tubing over the top of these things. That's there. That's some animal out. See, I've got questions.
stuff.
So it looks better now.
Is that a new experiment?
And wrap things up here. I do plant garlic as well. Garlic you plant in the fall for it to do better. So we've got 4 different types of garlic here. Split between the hard neck and the soft neck garlic. Right now, you got little signs at the end. Sure. And then my last bit here behind is I have fingerling potatoes. They're new. I mean, they haven't come up yet.
Okay. We'll do a follow-up on this later. See what happens.
We do get a lot of leaves from picking up in town, so you see a few bags of leaves that are scattered around.
Yeah, definitely.
And I will use those for mulch as it goes.
Bunch over there.
Leaves do a real good job.
Good. All right, cool. Anything you want to follow up with?
Just a beer. Just a beer. Just
All right.
follow up with beer.
All right, well, we're going to go have a beer. So enjoy this podcast, or if you don't like it, I don't give a shit. Bye.